let's go ahead and complete with where we were talking about the suntan and the results that you're going to get with your tan. Those of you that are interested in that. And when we speak about undertones, we know that when we get the tan, when the tan happens, or when you get a tan, the undertones do not leave. And that's going to be the marker of what the outcome of the tan that you receive. So if, so with the tan, those of you that have cool undertones, you would get a different type of overt presentation based on those undertones, but you're starting baseline pigmentation, your starting baseline color is what you would get. So that would be quite different. Now, just like those of you that have the peach undertone like mine, when you get the tan, for example, you can go to where I'm showing my face on camera, the video called, what it is called is Back from the Future or Return from the Future, Who Has Come Towards You, Back from the Future. And then you can see the tan, the outcome, the face with my face showing with my tan face. And you can see the undertones, the peach undertones beneath the tan skin. So we know that when you have a tan and light bouncing off of the surface of the skin, the light penetrates to beneath the skin where your undertones are. The undertone does not disappear when you have a tan. The tan does not cover the undertone, and that's why the result is going to show of your tan based on the natural undertones that you have. So you have the suntan layers. The suntan layers there's the transparent golden bronze tint over the top. Okay, now, and then that will be on the top where the skin is tan on top of your suntan, but beneath your suntan is where your undertones are. So it has that lit from within glow. So if you have a cool undertone, reddish pink, and then you have a tan on top of it, that lit from within glow, when light bounces off of it, it shows your undertones, and that's the result of your tan, like that. So if you take my video where my face is showing as the example, you can see the peach, but you see more with mine, more of the pink orange peach mixture of the undertones, and then the tan that's on top of it, the tan skin, and then the light hitting, and you have that lit from within glow, and that's how your tan will look, and it has a distinguishing effect on what that tan skin looks like. So of whether the tan is going to be a golden tan or a maybe a lighter tan, and it's going to depend on, as I state, the cool warm factors in the baseline skin color, and that lit from within being the ultimate product, like that, because with the tan, light still penetrates down into the dermis, and it bounces off the skin's natural undertones. Mine being peach, so it's that pink orange peachy combination, but being warm creamy. So gives a different type of presentation there with the pigment, and it has that, instead of because the undertones being peachy and orange pink mixed together is what makes the peachy, and then the creamy warm. It doesn't give a flat dull brown tan like that, because the light comes from within, and then it's the undertones that you have, and the light bouncing and come from within, and then that's the voila moment. So that's what you have there. So it is quite different now, and so so the surface color, that's the actual tan. So, but remember, the light the light that goes within to the dermis, it reflects out. It's just reflecting the undertones, and that's what the tan is. So and it dictates how the tan looks. And because my baseline color is a warm ivory base with the peach undertones, the tan will always look warm, rich, and slightly even apricot tone rather than a cool olive or grayish tone. So you have to know what the baseline starting point is in the warm or the cool, and then how light goes along with that. And us that have natural permanent freckles, when we tan when we get a tan, the tan color is on top of the freckles like that, so it kind of like dull them out. Okay, now obviously with the tan going, you're like, hey. Because there's no top. Like, for example, when you have the permanent freckles and then you get a tan, the tan is there's going to be a layer of tan like that. It depends on how deep the tan is, but the tan would never be so deep where it just covers the freckles, but there will be that layer of tan on top of it, so it could kind of like have the freckles like diluted, or like it's just they're not as pronounced, because we know that tan that freckles are a deeper, richer color. Now, so when the sun tans over on top of the freckles, you have that like a light cover on top of the tan, even though on top of the freckles, even though the freckles could still be seen. So it kind of makes them a little bit more within that color scope of what the tan is and how the tan presents itself, and then the freckles matching within that and within that color scope there. So that's how it is now. And because with my phenotype, the features, the eye color, the hair color, and the freckles is in the baseline skin color, my eyes show up differently because it's like so you don't have that canopy of color on top of it covering up the freckles or making the eyes look a certain way, causing a different appearance within the eyes because it's framed by a tan like that. So there's a different type of blending even with the hair color, so it blends differently. Now with the baseline color, it would be the hair and the eyes sit differently, and then the freckles, all of it just sits differently because it's with the baseline color of what that looks like. So that would be a different type of that's a different type of, not very different, it's just a slightly different type of slightly different type of combination. It's a different type of combination. Like that, because it's not as because of what the features go with in a norm, so it looks very different. So when you're getting a tan, or when your skin is tan, it depends on what your baseline color is. It depends on what your baseline starting color is, and the cool or warmth, and the light hitting the dermis, and that inner light projecting itself. So is like that. Even though obviously people would say, well, the dark strawberry blonde hair, the green eyes, and the freckles, they thrive against a clean balance of the warm ivory baseline skin. Well, yeah, it looks different because obviously you can tell that it's a tan. Okay, so when you can tell something is not, when you can tell when something is not in its natural positioning, obviously the nature of what it is looks better now, or looks different. So in that, so yeah, I agree that the obviously the eyes, the hair color, the freckles shine against the warm ivory baseline skin tone. Now, because you had a lighter, creamier background of the complexion, providing a higher contrast canvas it'll make my eyes and the look very intense and a different type of deep, because it'll be framed by the natural skin color as opposed to the tan like that, which it all still goes together because that's what the skin does when it tans, and because of what the undertones are, it helps blend the hair color and the eye color in, and the freckles, it gives a different look. And also with the natural baseline skin color, the warm ivory, it complements the darker strawberry blonde hair also, because it'll carry a more delicate clarity, mirroring the bright golden red in my hair, because my hair is the bright golden red, brownish golden reddish. That's what the strawberry blonde hair is. And when the light hits it with their natural baseline skin color, it reflects in the hair like that, and creating it like a higher end color harmony like that. So you get something different. That's why when you get your tan, you look different. Your hair color, your eye color, it creates a different, in your baseline, your undertones create a different look with your overall phenotype. The tan does, and when it's without the tan. Now, in with me, with the natural baseline color, the freckles are the focal point, because you don't have the tan over it like that. It's like blending the freckles into a color, blending the freckles into a tan color. So it's like kind of subdued but still there, because the freckles are always darker. Okay, without the tan, it's just there they are. Now, so against a lighter ivory backdrop, the baseline color is that the dense pattern of the freckles stands out, so is as a dividing feature rather than blended into the darker tan. So whenever it tans in your hair color, eye color, you're going to get that different look. And the tan is going to be based on your undertones like that, and your baseline skin color. When that leaves, you'll get you'll get the different type of look, the more normal, natural look like that. So that's what it is.